Just a Thought, a show that starts with a simple premise and explores how different people view different subjects. The greatest philosophies, the most revolutionary changes, and the greatest inventions. And all of them started with just a thought.
Hello.
What's happening, good people? What's happening? It's Friday again, and we are so happy, especially from the 202 to the 810, to be here. Literally, it has not been an easy feat to say with your chest that you are a DC resident, and some of y'all already know why. But in case you do not, we're glad you're here.
All right, y'all. I'm going to give a little bit of international news that is literally coming out of DC, some local news, and then after that, Yogi G going to take over. So I don't know if y'all saw this week, a couple crazy things have been going on. I don't know if y'all have heard of the name John Bolton. Do y'all know who John Bolton is? So John Bolton, make sure I'm telling you who John Bolton is so I say it correctly. John Bolton was God darn it, lost what his position is. Anyway, internationally, John Bolton was rated today. He used to be Trump's. This is what happens when you have.
He was ex-security. He was, not to cut you off, he was ex-security advisor to Trump.
Yeah, he was a former national security advisor under President Trump, right? Okay, now anyway, he supposedly gave some information that they have a right to start looking him up because he has been against Trump in this new term. Now, mind you, he was his former head of security. So today in DC, the FBI was given a warrant and they went to his house because his office in DC and his house in Maryland. And you're wondering, like, well, why would they do that? A lot of reasons why they would do that. This man has some information and they want to see what he got. So it was stunning because a lot of these situations that are going on with this government, where if Mr. What you call him, Yogi G? Mr. You call him something, Orange something.
Oh, Agent Orange.
Agent Orange. If he doesn't like you, he could seek the FBI on you. So I was just shocked about this today, that former head of security, the only reason why they were allowed to look him up, all it does is take 8 months. So supposedly he wrote a book, and in his book and in his last interview, he mentioned one line that exposed some things that were in Trump's first term. And so guess what? Agent Orange said, hell no, you is not going to be saying stuff about me. I'm taking you down. That's just my thought. So with other things in the news, I don't know if you noticed that Cracker Barrel has been getting a lot of attention because supposedly people are mad that the logo has been changed. If you remember the Cracker Barrel logo, it had Uncle Herschel and it had a barrel. And a lot of conservatives and traditionalists are in outrage because Cracker Barrel has changed. And our own president had called them sterile and that they were on some woke agenda. I don't know about you, Yogi G, but I've been to Cracker Barrel so many times. The food is bland. It doesn't taste good. And it doesn't give me the vibe as a woke place. It gives me the vibes of something that was back from the 1930s and the 1940s. And most people of color do not patronize Cracker Barrel. But I started doing some research and I said, here it is. This is their agenda. Another distraction. Well, we can go back to some other logos that were changed, especially I think it was when George Floyd situation, that was Aunt Jemima. Now they call it Pearl Minor. I forgot what they call it. It's the new pancake name instead of calling it Aunt Jemima. The same thing with Uncle Ben. Now it's saying the name wrong. They changed the names due to sensitivity. The sad part is that a lot of this sensitivity sometimes erases information. But this week, that was interesting how we can look at our history of names of franchise and how it affects us. So I guess Cracker Barrel taking Uncle Herschel off and the barrel has affected the far right. And so that is all over the news. The way it was, I'll give you some other examples. I don't know. Do y'all remember Sambo's Restaurant? Sambo's Restaurant. I remember that restaurant. That was a crazy name. That name was dropped because it was offensive. But I don't think it's offensive to take the Cracker and Uncle Herschel off. But I got this video that I saw and it was hilarious. So I just want to share this video with you just to make you laugh before we get into serious conversation that's going right here in the nation's capital. So, Mickey, can you put the video on?
Hello, I'm the Cracker from Cracker Barrel. And y'all know I sat on that damn logo for 48 damn years. Longer than a snake deep throat in the giraffe neck. Then overnight, you got this diverse, evil, ignorant, or DEI group of people taking over our marketing, talking about we need a rebrand. Then poof, I'm going faster than a black man driving through Alabama. How you gonna rebrand without debrand? I'm the goddamn reason people come to Cracker Barrel. How you gonna have a place called Cracker Barrel without a cracker leaning on a barrel? I mean, what's next, America? A black female Popeyes manager that doesn't fight her customers. Cracker Barrel needs a cracker and a barrel. And I'm the coldest cracker son of a bitch to ever lean on a barrel this side of a Mississippi. Hell, maybe both sides. But don't you go worry about your old boy Cracker. I got a little nest egg and I'll find something to lean on. I always have. But it's a damn shame what y'all done let happen to old Barrel. Who the hell out here finna hire me, bro? Nobody hiring barrels. I might as well just jump in the fucking fireplace, bro.
Oh shit, this nigga dead.
You can stop the music, Mickey. I just had to give you this funny. You know, people be creating some funny videos. So this is what's going on in the news that has literally streamed on everyone's platform within the last 2 days. And I'm sitting there, so much craziness going on. And now the president is worried about Uncle Herschel not being on Cracker Barrel. And that is my international news for today. Go ahead, Yogi G.
All right. First and foremost, I guess I'll just give some context. I have only been to Cracker Barrel once in my lifetime, and that is when I was visiting my relatives in North Kakalaki, or North Carolinas, as we like to say. And I have to say that it was not all the things that I heard that it was. I mean, certainly the old-timey plantationist vibes are there, and I just knew that the longer I sat there, somebody was going to be coming through the back door to come and get me and mine up out of there. But am I moved or like feel some type of way about them changing the logo of Cracker Barrel? Not really. But it is entertaining nonetheless. All right, let's get to it. We only got an hour to bring you the news. And we are an interactive talk podcast. And so I would be remiss if I did not shout out the people in the chat that are joining us for today's conversation. No Games, what's happening with you? David Bergeron, I want to say it like that because like Mickey said, words are hard. Good evening to you. Wanda Smith, thank you for joining us. Good evening. Carolyn Hendricks, Georgia boy, top of the evening to you, sir. Good evening, beautiful people from Deborah Luna. Good evening. Jazzy Melody, thank you for joining us. Felicia Martinez, what it do? H-Spag, thank you for joining us. Concrete Jungle, thank you for joining us. Georgia boy, honestly, that's wild. And Felicia Martinez said, yuck, yuckity, yuck. Y'all don't forget that we do have house rules for A10, no different than you would see on any other show. As you enter the room, please make sure you hit that like button and find time to subscribe and become a member of A10. And if you don't know, we like to make sure that our producer that is helping us today, Spray Steve Sparkett himself, can you get that out? It's the Gap. But AKA Mickey Biggs from the A10. We like to make sure our producer gets paid. So it's $5 Friday. So if you should so feel moved, make sure that you make sure our producer that takes care of us gets paid. All right. We got one more comment. HSPAG 3265 says, I didn't think Cracker Barrel was all that either. Went once and that was enough. Same. I was done when they got me when they said they had the honey chicken. And I am still one of those people that likes a little yardbird. And when I got there and they gave me a piece of chicken and the honey in a cup and told me to drizzle it, I said, I have been bamboozled and led astray once again. Damn. All right. All right, good people. As you know, we are in the District of Columbia, hence the 202. And we are dealing with some things. We are currently being the test center for a lot of things that are coming into other cities and states near you. So if you are not experiencing the things that we're experiencing currently in the nation's capital, one, good for you. Two, hopefully you'll be paying attention to some of the things that we're highlighting, just in case it's coming down to your neck of the woods and you have time to get ahead of some of these things. Mick, I'm gonna resend you this video so that we can start it off with it, because I know I sent you a lot. We be keeping Mickey busy over here, and rightfully so.
No. Wait a minute. Which one you want me to put up? Because I can probably tell you. I got them how you said you want the picture with the
word. So not the picture. The video after the picture.
Okay, hold
on. And I
sent
it again just in case.
Are you just gonna send it again, huh?
I mean, Mickey, we trying to work together.
I'm just messing with you. You talk about what the guy sitting in the car, right? DC is under siege.
Nah, the one that just came through.
Hold on, let me
if we did, yeah, it's the one with the TV T-Mobile screen on it, and it's right after the one I sent you about the police chief. Yeah.
You said, hold on, I got you. Let me make sure.
Oh, snap, we got a super chat. Deborah Luna, thank you for the $5 super chat. We appreciate you. Shout out to Deborah Luna for making $5 Friday pop over here on Just a Thought. And Philip Johnson, thank you for joining us. Good evening.
Is it this one right here?
Yeah, that should be it.
See, I'm on point. Hold on, let me come up out of here.
That's why we got to make sure you get paid, man.
I got you.
Janine Pirro, which is Donald Trump's handpicked U.S. attorney, just gave marching orders to hit Black and brown folks in D.C. with the harshest charges possible. No lenience, no discretion. Max out every street arrest. Let's call this what it is, weaponizing the law. Instead of focusing on real solutions to poverty, housing, or jobs, Trump's team is using the federal prosecutors like soldiers in war. And the battlefield is the neighborhoods. They're pulling in Department of Defense lawyers, yes, the military, to help prosecute misdemeanors. Think about that. America can't find lawyers to defend your rights in a housing court, but they can pull the Pentagon staff to make sure somebody sleeping on a park bench gets slapped with a federal time. This isn't about safety. It's about control. By forcing felony charges instead of misdemeanors, they lock people out of jobs, housing, and voting rights. By moving cases into federal court, they strip away the small protections that local DC courts sometimes allow. And by calling this a crime crackdown, they disguise mass criminalization of poverty as public policy. History tells us this playbook. In the 80s, they used the war on drugs. In the 2000s, they used tough on crime policing. In 2025, Trump is calling in the military to keep DC under control. But here's the truth. Knowledge is our defense. The Constitution is still on our side. The 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments, if we don't know them, we're walking into this war unarmed. So the question is, do we let them turn DC into a federal prison yard, or do we learn the law and use it like a shield. Because the way this administration is moving, survival and unity aren't optional, they're mandatory.
Thanks, Mick. All right, great people. First and foremost, we always like to honor the super chats because it's what keeps us here and keeps us alive. So Carolyn Hendricks, 2880, thank you for sending your $5 Friday, or as Winston would say, $5 Friday. We appreciate you so much. And Felicia Martinez said, did y'all see what the narcissist in chief had said today? Trump was right about everything. Jesus, take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel. Indeed, Felicia. You got any thoughts on what you just saw on?
Sorry, I was muted. Well, I don't know if you saw. I posted the other day. I was at an event, and Wamada was there, and Wamada was handing out literature. And so, in DC, on Monday, all of our beautiful children will be going back to school. But on the back of their literature, it says, no fare, no ride. So I started to ask further deep questions. Well, with this video, you're not lying. He's not lying. If our children say they do not have their fare card, if they decide to pass the turnstile, open the gate, they will be held like if they did something so terrible, which is called, what do you call that? Fare invasion. So my thoughts on the video is only just confirming there's an attack on young Black boys and our children on the first day of school. So I feel today, when I was at my event for work, I got to see Muriel Bowser, our mayor of our city, and she indirectly she was warning us. At least she's starting to indirectly warn us. But we really are up for some scary times. I say this very calmly, but it's very scary. Anytime I get in my car, I don't wear a damn seatbelt, y'all. I am always the last one to put a seatbelt. This Puerto Rican chick got her seatbelt on all times because I'm tired of every other mile or every other area that I'm in. I see a presence of police, ICE, Homeland Security, and the FBI for no reason doing checkpoints. That's my thought, Yogi G.
That Philip Johnson says, Don, aka Agent Orange, your commander in chief, not mine, called himself the chief law enforcement officer, referring to an FBI raid. But that's a lie. Every agency has its own head administrative office. The president does not administrate over any of them. You are absolutely correct, Philip, and I'm glad that you're helping us get a segue into the thoughts behind this particular video. For those that are just joining us, welcome to DC, where we are a city that desires to be a state for this very reason that we're dealing with right now, because we do not have full control over our governance. As a matter of fact, we were just given home rule somewhere in the 70s. And what that meant is that we had autonomy to have our own mayor, our own council, and ANC commission that would help generate laws and work on our budget. But everything would have to be checked off by the federal government, aka the people in the Thunderdome or the Capitol. And now that they have given the narrative that we are the most dangerous city, although I think that, per Mickey and Trevor's talk, you saw that DC was nowhere on the top 10 list. We are now being used as the example of what power is going to continue to look like as it spreads from the nation's capital into maybe a city or state near you. Now, why is this something that you need to be paying attention to? Well, one, it's the nation's capital. And we also need your help because, as you heard me say, we don't have representation we have a senator, we have Eleanor Holmes Norton, but she is in there without any voting rights. So it's just the equivalent of maybe setting up someone in your council chambers that's just there to take notes. She's a wonderful woman, and some people would say she's done a lot of wonderful things for Elevate and Needs in DC, but does she have any voting power like her peers? Absolutely not. So what we want to do is kind of highlight tonight what we've been doing, hopefully every night for those out here in the chat, is just to show you the difference between what the community perspective is versus the national news. So we're going to get this rolling off by Mick. You see the video with the let's start on the White House side. You see the one that say DC isn't with the bald white gentleman.
Hold on, I got you. Let me go pull it up. You said I got you.
It's like
I got you. I'm gonna pull it up right now.
Appreciate you.
I got you, no problem. No, it'll take me a second. I ain't got the best. Bam, here we go.
Oh, I saw this one. I like this. Okay. Oh, let me pull my phone.
I thought I sent it with video, with the audio, Mick. Is that just the way it's playing? Can you hear Anna?
No, is it muted? Mickey, is it muted?
You know what? My bad, I got y'all. Let me redo it.
DC is a miracle what's happened. I mean, they can come up with fake numbers like the mayor is doing. Oh, no, it was going down for 20 years. You didn't live here. You know, have you been mugged? Okay. DC was a hellhole, and now it's safe. And in fact, I put out this morning, I said, I hate to say this because it doesn't sound very good, but there have been no murders in DC in the last week. That's the first time in anybody's memory that you haven't had a murder in a week. And I think the mayor has to get on the ball because we have a situation, and she's a nice woman, but I'll tell you what, she's got to get on the ball. We have, I don't want to see phony numbers. DC hit an all-time high last year of absolute total crime, and it continued pretty bad. And then we put some strength into it, got the numbers down a little bit, but we brought in the DC National Guard, and we coupled them with the police, and it has been amazing.
First, when it comes to what you said, and the president said, the slums of Washington, D.C., he's referring to the most dangerous communities, neighborhoods, and streets in this city where, unfortunately, violence has ravaged these communities and taken the lives of, again, far too many law-abiding D.C. residents.
And by the way, most of the citizens who live in Washington, D.C. are black. This is not a city that has had any safety for its black citizens for generations. And President Trump is the one who is fixing that with the support of the Metropolitan Police Department, the support of the National Guard, and our federal law enforcement officers.
You know, it.
Girl, I can feel my therapist.
I can feel the gray hairs growing for every time I have to look at an article or hear something that's giving negative content to DC. Now, I do want to say this. You know, I know that DC is not the utopia of peace, right? But I would argue that every city that lacks resources and has major barriers to access to those resources, even in its most minimal form, is going to experience some sort of crime. I also want to add that while this narrative is being spent that these are just DC residents especially in our most melanated area of Ward 7 and 8, are just full of slum ridden, savage criminals is is insulting. It's insulting. And then another fact that I love that came out of the conversation between Trevor and Mickey was that you have to consider that DC is an open city. We are part of the DMV. And most when you hear the people talk about the District of Columbia, it is gathered together under the emblem of DMV. And the reason that that is because we are so closely connected between the border of Maryland and Virginia. That means literally you could be riding down one street in DC and be in Maryland, or you can ride down one way of DC and be in Virginia. And that is the fact, that is for me one of the facts that's never mentioned in any of this conversation about the uptick in crime, if it's really truly an uptick, um, and how susceptible we are to being pinpointed as the blame for a lot of the things that are coming about of it. What do you think, Anna?
I'm not muted. So, the way I look at DC, it's pots of poverty. No one ward cannot say they truly do not have poverty in every ward. We have had two great mayors come from Ward 7 and Ward 8, where they lived at. Beautiful homes. A lot of people think when you say Ward 7 and Ward 8 that it is a horrible area. Actually, there's places in Ward 7, Ward 8 look better than your Ward 8 in Flint, Michigan, which is the area when you drive through, you see them mansions. We have that in Ward 7 and 8. But if you were to listen to the news, you would think that you're riding through a war zone, and it's not like that. If people of Ward 7 and Ward 8, a lot of well-educated people, the truth is the cost of housing has skyrocketed so darn high that everyone has moved to actually Ward 7 and 8. And usually, Black and brown people have always been targeted when not making the most. So what you have is an inflation of others coming in. The income is so high that they can afford to live in Ward 3. But don't be fooled that there's no killings and there's still no crime, because we're still having, but it does not mean or justify that we need the military here. And that is the biggest lie when they say these things. And to sit here and say that DC is all Black, Chocolate City has not been Chocolate City for more than two censuses, the census of 2010 and the census of 2020. So for them to say that, it is actually more, was it 60% white, and the rest was everything else but white. So it's not Chocolate City. So for them to say that the crime is these things that are going on, yes, there's some. In every major city, you have crime. Too many people. But if you went into other areas besides DC, it'd be white on white crime, it'd be brown on brown crime, and it'd be black on black crime. I watched them videos, but to watch it again, Yogi G, I will say it's frustrating because we know the need because we live here, right? And so you got people who've never stepped foot in these neighborhoods, never stepped foot around these people, never worked or advocated in these areas. And the assumption is that because I have melon, that I am ignorant, that I am broke, and that I'm dangerous. And that is the narrative they're painting on all of us collectively. Just this week, you talking about this real quick. In my house, I had, matter of fact, I was on my way home and I was about to park, and something said, don't park at the end because the way these cops are flying down the street, I don't want no cop flying into my car. Well, I go park ahead of my neighbor's car. This young Indian girl gets out of her car and says, hey, do you live here? And at first, I backed up. I was like, no. I said, who's asking? I don't like nobody ask me where I live or who are you. Those things bother me. Because I don't know who you are. Make a long story, they hit the back of my neighbor's car. Within 20, I say 20 to 30 seconds later, I get up on the sidewalk. The girl gives me her information. I try getting a hold of my neighbor, but she's literally at the airport coming from vacation. They had chased, and now I'm starting to see the police running up and down my street. They have literally chased a guy on a bike. So we have had fatality due to this craziness of police going up and down one-way streets. So when I see this, they are causing issues, and they are causing us to feel unsafe. So I don't know about you, Yogi G, but since Trump's been in office, I haven't felt safe in DC. And even these last couple weeks with especially where I live, I haven't felt safe. Like I said, I put my seatbelt on. That's my thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for us, anywhere that you at, you kind of just maintain safety by knowing how to maneuver in your neighborhood. You know, like I said, I was born and raised in DC, and I'm with nothing about the things that they're talking about have elevated or escalated us to the point that we're in now is new to me. And it's not that I have so much loyalty to my community to cut my nose to spite my face to forego wanting safety for me and my children. But also as being somebody who's within community and all about community, I want my community to be as safe as possible, but not in the levels that's going on right now. I was looking at the map of where most of our presence is for the FBI and it's so many agencies, ATF, Homeland Security, and all of these agencies have been working overtime specifically in Ward 7 and 8, which once again, I repeat, are heavily melanated areas. And they are wealthy in their own way, but not compared to some of our wards further up, which are like Ward 2 and Ward 3 specifically. I don't mention our Ward 1 because that's what we consider our Columbia Heights area and up, and that's where we have most of our what's the proper term on it? Is Latin? I heard Latinx is not the proper term, or our
I'm an old head. I don't even know what Latinx means.
word. So I've heard Latinx, but I'm also going to be accountable in saying that I also heard that was not the proper term. But a lot of our migrant families stay in Ward 1. And so they're dealing specifically with being bum rushed with ICE. Now, a few things that have happened as to why it is extremely alarming while we're dealing with these arrests. As of maybe 2 days ago, we had a total of 550 arrests that were happening. And certainly we have a video to show for that, of course, of which 200, maybe 25 were ICE arrests, and the rest of them were specifically out of our Ward 7 and 8 community. And now we have, what's her name? Puro. I can't say this lady's name to save my life. She is.
Oh, you're talking about Jenny Puro.
Yeah, Puro. She's bringing in district attorneys from different spaces to help process a lot of these arrests that are happening. And don't forget that this is a numbers game. So the more numbers that they have that they're saying that they were arrested in DC, they want to be able to prove why the narrative was factual. They're not saying what these charges are. We're not getting any follow up on whether or not these people are being released. So that's problematic. And additionally, what also is problematic is that, Mickey, you got that still picture I showed you? I mean, I sent you. You can pull up about police chief.
I got you. Give me 1 second. I had put up that video that I thought you.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and run that. Go ahead and run that. Mick, that video. Yeah, go ahead and run that video.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Nope, hold on 1 second. I just took it down. I got you. 1 second.
Concerned about the Here's the math. The White House reported this morning that since August 7th, there have been 550 total arrests in the district. Marshals tell me 225 of those people are undocumented. 3 are allegedly gang members. Ward 8 Councilman Trayon White spent some time in the courthouse this week with some of those arrested.
I went down to sit in one of the court hearings on Monday, and it was almost 150 people that had been arrested this weekend, mostly east of Anacostia River.
Information from the White House backs that up. They tell 7 News half of the arrests that didn't include immigration violations were from Ward 7 and 8. Councilman White tells 7 News he's concerned about the type of crimes that people are being arrested for, but agrees that more law enforcement is needed to prevent violent crimes in the area.
What we want to do is help prevent crime, be proactive, and we need additional resources. Police in itself is not the end-all solution to addressing crime in Washington, D.C. We need wraparound services, mental health services, substance abuse.
All right, Mickey, now throw that picture up right behind that. Now, I don't know if you good people can see that. Thank you, Mick. It says, as Trump tightens grip on DC officers, officers say their chief is absent. Now, boy, oh boy, let me tell you. Now, I don't know if y'all remember or not. Our heads have been on the spin and the swivel since August 4th. And it feels like that it is now 2032 and we still in this shit. This lady right here is our police chief, Pamela Smith. And, prior to all of these things going on, I would like to say she was a very big presence in our community. We just saw her when the pools opened up, jumping rope, skipping with the kids and everything like that. Now, our community in the digital space is putting wanted posters up of her or missing posters up of her because we have not seen her anywhere in these streets that have been helpful. Where we have seen her is on, kind of like the auto response of, everything's fine. We're going to be working with federal agents type deal, but nothing for the community to help us understand. What we just learned last Friday is that we still have autonomy to run how they are policing our communities because technically Trump is in charge of the National Guard that is present in our community, while the federal agents and all the other agencies are supposed to be working alongside our MPD. That has not been the case. If anything, our MPD have been amping up. We have seen more white cop presence in our communities than I can ever remember. And now it's becoming so bad that they are literally just walking up on our youth, not even announcing themselves, just patting them down, going in cars. It is obscene what we are experiencing right now. So with her elevating charges to now wanting prosecutors to charge anybody that's during this period of takeover, anybody that is being charged, they want them to be charged federally so they can give them the maximal sentence. Like that in itself should be alarming. Let's see what we got going on. Philip Johnson, I appreciate you being active in the chat, brother. I have seen most of what you have put up, and I do agree. Let's see, let's give it honor. You said that's the same with Chicago. If you listen to the media, you would think that the entire city is a war zone, which isn't true. People who live here know where the high crimes are. A lot of police aren't even police. This kind of thing happened to Mr. Aubrey. Law enforcement exploded since the Patriot Act, driving invasion of privacy and infiltration, which John Sinclair and the White Panthers fought to expose. I didn't know it was a White Panther. I want to assume that it's Black Panthers, but Philip, please make sure we know where we're going with that one so we can be straight. He also said Flint mayor and chief of police just recently said the same thing. I'm trying to tell you, it be your own people. It be your own people. I've been sounding the alarm and saying that King Cooper Bowser has been blowing smoke in our ass for a long time. And I make no apologies for saying it just like that. You know, she presents as a black woman. She got a child, and she says she's a black mother and understand and experience. But everything she been putting on paper and on them books has been nothing but anti-poor, and sometimes I feel maybe anti-black if that's your thing. I think about like how many policies were coming down the pipeline prior to us having to deal with the Trump takeover. Like, for instance, we were talking about the deal with the that whole priority just 2 weeks ago about and even for that deal they were willing to cut out the need that we had for a lot of our residents not having access to housing, a lot of our residents getting ready to lose support with being able to get assistance with paying back rent, and our council was fine with that. So now that we have these elevated laws and things that are happening specifically for the young people in our communities and in our communities in general, where are we supposed to get the confidence that our people in power are going to hold us down while we're going through this takeover? I don't have it. I don't seek it. That's why I said right now, you better catch me. I'm on a preparedness tour. That means I'm looking at how I'm going to survive somewhere over here in the woods, because that's exactly where I think they want us at. Um, and then also, I like to elevate this, and then I'm gonna relinquish it to Anna. And certainly, I like to hear mixed thought on it if he's willing to chime in. That man, this woman Piro just said that they're not going to be seeking charges against people who are openly carrying shotguns and other weapons. Do you know what kind of mayhem is get ready to pop off in DC when these people find out that they're not going to be held with charges for coming with guns in a city that's already dealing with tension and racial tension at that? I don't know what y'all seen in y'all history books. I know Trump is trying to erase our history and turn us into a different time. But things popped off and it got really serious. And in a few days, there's some protests that are coming up, especially since around September. We have our children who are starting school as soon as Monday, and still no kind of true guidance is coming from the mayor personally, other than follow the law and stay out the way. And even for our council members, I've seen one of our council members the other day by the National Mall doing content for social media, but wasn't in our neighborhoods to talk about what's truly going on. Wait, hold on. Mickey, you put Mark Hutchinson's at the 740 mark. Can you put his comment up, please? Be careful criticizing the chief. She may be in the back room keeping the National Guard off y'all. You know she under tremendous pressure. You know, Mark, I will concede to that there may be things that are keeping us from going straight from 0 to 100 by tomorrow. And not even tomorrow. By the time we get off of this podcast tonight, just like last time, we had to come to y'all on Sunday because so much had popped up. So I will say that there are some things that she may be keeping at bay. I think that I would like to see maybe offline. I'm not all pomp and circumstances. I want people to have cameras in front of their face when they talking to us, you know. But if you have a space, and if she happens to see this, if you have a space to come and just ease the mind of the people and let us know why officers are being allowed to arrest people through windows and to come walk up through apartment buildings and open cars when before you had to have consent in order to do that, then I'll believe that we have at least one out of the 13 plus people that are supposed to be responsible for keeping the front line safe for us. Go ahead, Anna.
Yeah, you just lost me. Whew. All right, let me catch back up. I would say this. I'll go to Mark Hutchinson and then I'll go to my last thought. When we say that the chief, I have a different thought on this. When we say the chief is not around doing blase, blase, blase. As we know with the big, beautiful bill, Donald Trump got his minions to defund the police. Now people say, how are you going to say he defunded the police? Well, if you look at the budget, it took off the resources for the community of police officers. And with this executive order, even though our attorney general has went to court and said that we still have the autonomy over our MPD, if you look at the videos that have been going around, I do have a video, but I don't have it to share it tonight. The black police officers, the white police officers, the brown police officers have all agreed to say that we will follow whatever they want. But let me touch on this. The sad part is, in his executive order, where are they getting this money from? Right now, they are bringing National Guard from red states, which we all know the blue states are the ones that feed the red states. You have people coming from Tennessee, people from Mississippi, people from Alabama with the National Guard, and they will have guns. Like Yogi G said, they're going to be coming into this area. And the crazy part is what Mickey said the other day, the cultural differences. When we see what is going on and how our temperaments would be. We have people from, I'm sorry, DC is the South, but now we have people coming from the deep South coming up and not understand the communication on the way our youth speak. And when you come to DC, our youth speak the way they do, and you have to learn how to be a listener and reason with them, because we do not know what they have been through, what their past is, what their family dynamics is, what their family dynamics are. But even today with the event I went to, which was through DYRS, which is the Department of Youth and Retention. If I'm saying it wrong, I'm saying it wrong. Basically, it's the place where the juveniles go to, and the government assists them when they get cases and stuff. This event was for them. So even there, she was not there. The mayor came. I wouldn't be surprised if she was told to take leave because they're taking over. But Trump just made an announcement on her, Yogi G. I don't know if you saw it. He just made an announcement on her and said she needs to tighten it up. She's not doing anything. And now we're painting the narrative that she's not doing nothing. Is this something that's we're not knowing? Is there something they're hiding from us? Do we really know where she's at? That's just a thought.
No, I feel you. And then Yogi just stepped off for a second, so I'm co-piloting with you. I was looking at Mark's question right here. I know this is for you, Ana.
Okay.
When we read it, it's words are hard for you.
This is about reducing crime. Please don't give the narrative up. This is about propaganda. The government likes seeing black faces under police. I will beg to differ, and I'm going to tell you how I'm differing. Not what you're saying, but how you're saying it. This ain't even about crime. This is a distraction. There are some big fish that they're trying to fry. There's some big things that they're trying to take. I don't know what it is, but every time I look and I read things with economics and the way money is being funded and the way money is moving around these areas, we don't know what's going on. But I do know they love a lot of distractions. I don't know if this is a way to get us to start warring, for us to get out in the streets and fighting. And then guess what happens? I don't know if it can happen, but let's say if we get out here, we start fighting because the way they're treating our children, they're yanking our kids. Does Trump get to get elected again because we're in war, a civil war? I don't know. That's the question, Mickey. Can that possibly happen? Get us all to have a civil war right here in the nation's capital. Start with us. You think you want to see our kids being yanked up and locked up for no reason?
That you know what? That's where I kind of you know what I'm saying. Where it kind of confusing me at, but it's like because I was talking to somebody. If they was really so tough on crime, go to the FBI database and see who commit the most crime. You can go find out who commit the most. If they was really talking about cleaning up crime, it's just like they just act like all of America's crime is in the black area. That's where it gets, you know what I'm saying, where the propaganda, it come in like, no. Like you said earlier, if you go to where white areas is crime there, black areas is crime there. It's crime, you know, wherever you at. But it's just like more in the poor communities. But it's like that's what they like to highlight. They're not going to highlight the more affluent areas. And that's, to me, that's where, you know what I'm saying, where it get kind of murky. It get kind of, when they always highlighting the black, you know what I'm saying, what blacks do, you know, the black crime, you know, the people of color crime. That's where, you know what I'm saying, it get murky at with me.
But even if we look at the stat, I mean, my council member went on CNN this week and he spoke to, what's his name, Wolf
Blitzer.
And, you know, yeah, Wolf Blitzer. And he's putting these statements out, and supposedly we're going to have a town hall with him. He's actually from Chicago. But the background of him, before we got to this state, before Trump came in, we basically gave him the numbers. Because prior to him coming in office, we spent a whole year of getting everyone to pretty much advocate on safety. That was not my thing. My thing was specialized programming. But this was through the whole city. They were getting us to talking about the kids don't feel safe. The neighborhoods are not safe. And I'm talking about they went full-fledged with this thing. To the points we were having meetings everywhere, the council, the way the budget was made. We gave them the narrative. Whether it is not as serious that we need a National Guard.
Right.
But don't you think sometimes... Now, I'm not going to, these are just thoughts. Doesn't mean I believe it. But don't you think sometimes the Democrats, and I'm being funny, will sit there and paint this narrative of us feeling unsafe and how they're going to save us. And now the right side is using their playbook to say they're saving us too. But guess what? We're in the middle of this. We're in the middle of this. Not the Democrats, not the Republican. The people that live here are in the middle of this. So politics plays a huge part in what we go through. That's why I go back to the money, Mickey.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but I agree with you. Like when you say the money, but look at, to me, it's like they know the crime. Like far as I was looking at what Mark Hutchinson just said. He said he talked to one of his friends, his college roommate, who is from DC and still live there. He said compared to the 80s, crime is nothing in DC. Oh. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying, you know, for me, because
it's not. It's nowhere near.
Yeah, I'm not from there.
I came to DC in the 90s, which was, it was not nice. I will tell you it was not nice. And it was not nice, not because of the crime. It was because, I don't know, Yogi G, because they didn't fix anything. You ever notice that? Like back then, the buildings, they were letting them fall apart. It's like they gentrified them. It's like they didn't fix them. People were complaining. Wow. People were renting places. They were slum landlords. So they weren't fixing it. So now you got all this advocacy through a certain party about we need to fix this neighborhood. And then when they finally fixed the neighborhood, which they should have, you know, you had apartment buildings in Southwest and Southeast. They had sewage coming up in their bathtubs. We had the water thing in 2004. All of those things was because people were not regulating and doing their job. The government was sitting on their tails and not looking at what needed to be done. Now this has turned to say the city was a mess, meaning crime was high. If you wake up every day as a kid, and this is just a thought, if you wake up as a kid every day and you walk outside and you see buildings abandoned, you see holes on roof, you see no walk-in store next to you, no decent sit-down restaurant next to you, no opportunity, no work. What do you think leads after that? That's just my thought. That is a question and a thought. I don't know, Yogi G. What do you think?
You said back when? What?
I'm talking about when I first came in the 90s.
On the 90s, I was young and sprung, wasn't really paying attention. You know, I wasn't embarking on my elderhood like you and Mickey just yet. So I wasn't really paying it too much attention, you know. And then I have to admit that, you know, so Mickey popped up.
Because you talked about his age.
that was my warning. All right, I'm gonna take it as my warning. You know, I love you, Mickey. I swear. You're one of my favorite elders. I always tell you. But yeah, like, and then also, you know, DC is like any other city. You know, it all depends on where you've been raised. And for me, I was raised as a child over in what's considered to be Hillcrest of Ward 7, which is a more suburban experience, but still has the backside where it's closer to like Benning Road and things like that, which it gets a little more real. And when my mom, that's where my family home was. And when my mom went out on her own, we had to find ourselves over on the south side, over on MLK, Ward 5, Ward 8. And we were right on the backside of, for those who are familiar with DC, on Oakwood Street. It was a totally different experience. Like the way that I could maneuver around in Hillcrest Heights and Fairfax Village was not the same way that I was going to be moving over on MLK. You had to keep your head on the swivel. That's my experience. And right quick, I just, while I was working my way to come back, because we parent in real time too, on and Donald Trump just had a press conference where he said that he was threatening to permanently take over DC if our mayor didn't stop saying that we had been a safe city before they started. See what we're dealing with?
Control. That's a control thing. He, like I said to you today earlier, he's already taken over. This is just the way they paint it up. That's why you don't see these people in action. They have no. It's been taken over. I don't know. Have you seen what the beginning of? We could talk about another day. But did you see what Mark Hutchison put on there about the kayaking in the Anacostia River?
Yuck. I would never. The amount of dead bodies that are lingering in the Anacostia River is unimaginable. And not to mention that if you probably stick a pinky toe in there, you'll come up with 3 pinky toes. Just from the toxic pollution that's in our Anacostia River, from one, Pepco, that just made $101 billion off of our backs in ignorance because they got paid double time after they paid a fine for dumping illegal toxins in our Anacostia River. And recently, we just had waste to run over into our Anacostia River, which has a couple of people's faucets smelling like boo-boo. So I don't know what people are going to be kayaking up in that Anacostia River, but I can guarantee that they don't look like us. Let's see. It says, Philip says, weakening, words are hard, weakening area, take what's there, privatize it, and dole out the profits to cronies. People have been doing that for decades. Listen, our indications here in DC that we being moved out is if we see some gray paint go up on one of the buildings. You see gray paint on the building, you know it's about time for you to find your knapsack and get your wagon like back in the Oregon Trails days and get your ass on, because they not playing. That, and when they there's a local artist here that said something interesting one time, and he was talking about how they use artists to come into poor neighborhoods, and they call it a beautification project. And they give the artists free reign to go over and create murals and everything like that. And once they finish beautifying it, then the developers come in, and that's when they start doing their work, building the parks and things like that. And then that's when the property taxes go up. We know that to be true because we have several areas that if we took a ride and you could see that, like our Berry Farms, for those once again who've been in DC, Berry Farms is one of our oldest Black communities on the south side in the Anacostia. Right now, it looks like shell and bones because every memory that was there is gone. It's a ghost town. And that's what they've done with most of our neighborhoods here in the District of Columbia. So how can you say that we're crime ridden and we're slums, but never address what brought us to those spaces, if that's what you want to highlight, that you want to get rid of or you want to better or make great again? I think that there's some wicked things at play, as we all know. I hope that everybody is giving it some consideration as to how these things that you're hearing in DC link up with Flint, link up in California, as Philip has been saying, link up in Chicago and every other area out here. As Mickey has said before, it seems that everywhere there are poor Blacks, there's problems. And goddamn, if this ain't the biggest problem on the map right now in the DC area. I see we at time, but even though I know we started a little late, I do also want to kind of elevate the other thing that's happening with the gerrymandering, where in Texas, where they have now, I think they signed it. I think most of them have signed on it. Maybe they're still working on it, which is going to shift the power in Texas and give more votes on the Republican side. I know that California was working on some legislation to help counteract that so that we can rebalance the power in the capital. So I asked people to look into that, do a little learning this weekend. And then also, did you know that Donald Trump said that our African American Museum, and I'm paraphrasing here, he put it out on his little favorite journal space X.
Oh, yeah.
He said that our African American Museum was too woke, and woke equals broke. And that they want to do some auditing to our history because they don't want anybody to think that America started off as being a savage place. We got to talk about that when we get back on here. As always, it feels like there's so much to say, but so little time. Um, and I just want to say that I appreciate everybody for being here. I said it last time and I continue to say it. While people are fighting these things out, consider how you tighten up your community. Go talk to your neighbor. Learn how to organize offline. Get you a bug out bag. I just learned what the hell that was. That means something that's helping you survive out here in the motherland of America, should they not want to let you stay in your little box and pay your fare. Y'all be great. And until next time, maybe we gotta do a special or something like that. Mickey will let us know because every day there's like 15 more things that we gotta talk about, and it's all centered here in the 202.
No, just let me know whenever y'all want to do it. We ain't nothing but a link away.
That's true. Wait a minute, let's see what this chat is saying right quick. It says, Shardy Shard, what it do? Then you know you was in the space. Thank you for joining us. I said this crazy thing. That's a brand new. Oh, wait. I'm all messed up. So we're officially under a dictatorship. Concrete Jungle said, ladies, thank you for bringing this information to our attention. I'm glad I finally caught your platform. Well, thank you for joining in. We appreciate you walking away with some information. Charlie Shaw said, the crazy thing is that's a brand new museum he's trying to destroy. Tell me about it. It was my favorite place. You know, to hold me accountable doing Negro things, you know. Philip said these folks keep using woke all wrong, but respect and love to DC, to Miss Ana and Yogi, Mr. Jewel, and bless up. And this is Yvette, our friend Yvette. She said, I'm concerned that they are purposely trying to criminalize our children with minor crimes such as smoking weed, loitering, and fare evasion. Yvette, you know, Monday is a big day for all of us. As I said, our children will be going to school all across DC. And that is the conversation that we're having as a community on how we, with all these things going on, keep our children safe, keep their mental health intact, because that is important. And that's how you keep a community safe and keep them accountable, by making sure that they see safety and they feel that way. I do want to address this, right? If for people who were wondering about the National Guards, they are guarding the money. That's where they are. They're not currently stationed within our community specifically, but they are stationed at our train stations and sometimes like main areas where our children go. And that's why we mentioned, because now they're coming and they will be sitting there with their assault rifles and their with their weapons and stuff. And while we don't anticipate that they're going to be as agitated, ooh, I use a big word. Ooh, made me feel good about myself. Nobody wants their children to have to perceive that they had to go to school during times of war. And it's just something that we can't avoid right now. But I can say this. I remember that I had a family member that works for the feds, not the feds per se, but he works for the Metro Transit Police Department. And I can give this bit of information with his blessing. If you have children who are utilizing the train station specifically, please make sure that they're not wearing headphones that can be snatched off of their heads, that they are wearing at least one AirPod so that they can be able to keep their head on the swivel. And if they have to get on the train, make sure that they get on the front of the train, because according to him and his compadres, that statistically is the safest space to be on the train. He said, when you are interacting with police officers, don't comply, communicate. So if they're asking you a question, just answer the question. don't start getting cussing and calling them all kinds of names because you're only asking for them to elevate and escalate, especially if you're putting the camera in their face. Now, I'm saying if you're dealing with a police officer that is violating your rights, and you certainly have the right to say it how you need to say it, but at least try those particular things. And from your friendly police officer, because that's my cousin, I know how he rocking these streets. He just want to see the children make it home safely, and that's what we all want to see. Um, yeah, that's my last little Yogi's rant. Anybody else on the screen got anything to say?
No, but I would like to put on a little bit of that video when we were out. We could do that while we're closing out. It was Yogi. It was us at Rita's. I'm not in the video. You could hear me, but you can see Yogi G talking. Mickey, do you see that video?
I'm finna get to it right now. Let me get to it right now. Let me get this video. Give me 1 second. I'm finna pull it up. Y'all snuck this up on me.
I would say this: be careful this weekend, and especially when these kids, because they have been surveying around the community, and a lot of people that don't look like us said they are happy that these kids are not going to be riding the train and the bus like they want. And this is in real time. These people have been surveyed from WMATA at DuPont Circle. That is not a representation of where the kids ride the train. So I'm asking that our officials stop going to certain neighborhoods to survey the people. It's horrible. But this is a video where we were at Rita's. Yogi G and me were sitting there, and we saw some people we knew. And it's just a little bit. You don't have to play the whole thing, Mickey. Just play a little bit of it. This gentleman speaks. He's an artist.
Yeah, but if we and I think, but that's the thing about, you know, when they say the Declaration of Independence, we have to be declarative in our mind state. But I don't think our leaders are anywhere near that. Everyone takes this sort of, because the Democratic Party is big and lazy, because and they're so involved in their own ego games or trying to get ahead, but they're not fundamentally looking at the responsibility they've got to the rest of the country. I think the rest of the country is depending on us, and we're not. While we still have the potential media, we should be sending our flares up. The rocket's red flare is a media flare. It's like saying we are not free here. I've always thought that the attention should be on not so much the rest of the country, but the rest of the world, to make our so-called leaders embarrassed.
Yeah, if they can figure
Now,
it out in other spaces, then why can't we figure it
there's
out?
different phases of embarrassment. I always embarrassment means that
Hold
we're but I think the word I prefer is mortification. And I saw a comedian doing an imitation of Trump, comparing himself, not only comparing himself to God, he had him down perfectly, but he was saying that he was better than God because he could have created the world in 4 days instead of 7. Because because I could do it so much better. Because why would he create this and then create these others? Why don't he just amalgamate them to one day? I would do it so much better. He was doing that kind of stuff, you know. Yeah. And it's like, wow, the power of not only the power of speech is so powerful, but comedy and art is so powerful because it is based on the truth.
Yeah.
You have to like get rid of the extraneous stuff, and we've got a lot of extraneous stuff in our pursuit of statehood.
Especially when you're trying to explain the Constitution to like younger generations.
It's not a rational thing. It's there's rationale, but this action isn't rational. Sometimes it's an imperative. Yeah. And there is such a thing as missing the boat.
It seems to me we don't have enough people that are willing to educate a lot of us, as far as like who live in the District of Columbia about what it means to declare versus just ask, and what it means to actually know the history by looking into the Declaration. My American process professor always said that it's your duty as being a U.S. citizen, should you choose to remain one, to know the history, to know the laws, and not just what pertains to how you identify in race, if that's what you subscribe to. But like, how will you know when things are going awry, or how will you know when your rights are being violated if you never take the time to learn what they are and how it was created, right? And that's been beneficial to me, and I'm 43. But I also know that with every day and every year that goes by, I get older. So it's just as important for me to know that at 43 as it is for a 13-year-old or a 17-year-old to know as well. Just in my opinion, because we need all hands on deck for everybody to understand that, like to your point, we do have some leaders out here that are taking advantage. Mick, I don't know where she wanted to start. I mean, to stop, but
I was on the phone and my head didn't stop. So you can go and close us out. We were closing out with that, but go ahead.
Be your own people. I hate seeing myself on camera. She just put that camera out there from nowhere. All right, good people. Listen, y'all heard the instructions, man. Be safe. Y'all find out who y'all community members are and be great. We'll catch y'all next Friday or whenever the world keeps turning here in the 202. Enjoy. Peace.